What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. We made it to the end of the week. This week was a little bit slow. In fact, it was a little slower than last week because I had a no trade day on Monday, and Tuesday I took only one trade. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were pretty good, averaging about $20,000 a day over these last 3 days. So I'm in good shape on the week, sitting, let's see, it'll be right around 60,000 on the week. Let's look at my metrics here. Once you include today's profit, 65,000. Last week was 60,000, but first day of August lost 44 grand. Yikes. So that was not great. Okay, so as I sit right now, I'm at around 70,000 on the month, which is 7% of the $1 million goal. Not even close, and we're halfway done with the month of August. All right, so August is gonna come up short of that lofty $1 million goal that I was able to hit and exceed, in fact, in June and July. It is what it is. The market has cooled off a little bit, but what's important is that I took my foot off the gas pretty quickly. Obviously, would have liked to have avoided that red day on the first day of August, but nonetheless, took my foot off the gas, slowed down, reduced my share size, and then over these last 2 weeks, I've been kind of grinding on smaller numbers, regaining that loss. And so the account is back at all-time highs. I'm being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more conservative, but I think that's the right approach in this market. So we can look at the trades from today. TIVC was the stock that I made the most on. It ended up going up. So this is interesting. It kind of popped up yesterday, then dropped down, then rallied back up. But this morning from the low to the high, it went up about 111%, which is pretty good. Now, for those of you guys who haven't already checked out a 2-week trial here at Warrior Trading, I'll remind you, the link is posted at the top of the comments and in the description. During your 2-week trial, not only can you watch over my shoulder while I'm trading, you'll get access to this software right here, which allows you to do your charting, your scanning, to be in the chat room, and to watch my breaking news, or to watch you can stream our breaking news feed, but you can also stream my own broadcast. We also get a selection of classes from the Warrior Pro curriculum to give you a sense of what it's like to be a full-fledged member, and just to help equip you with some of the basic knowledge that you need to better understand what's going on during your 2-week trial. So make sure you check that out. It's 2 weeks for $20. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. So for everyone that was watching me this morning, when TIVC first hit the scanner, it was at 8:30, and I already had a little bit of a profit cushion on the day, so I felt comfortable breaking the ice. But let's go back to that first trade of the day, which was on VMAR. Okay, so VMAR, this stock was kind of interesting. And I guess to back up even a couple more steps, when I first sat down this morning, leading gainer was PPSI. I pulled up the level 2 on it. So pulling up the level 2 PPSI, and I noticed it's easy to borrow. See that big green E? Typically, I've noticed when stocks are easy to borrow, they're a little heavier, they're a little choppier, they can start to squeeze, but often they don't. And so when I saw that, I thought, well, that's probably not going to work. So that was our leading gainer this morning, and it has a lot of volume, 64 million shares right now. And then the second leader was PMNT, which also has a lot of volume, over 200 million shares, but it's a 50-cent stock. So wasn't very interested in that one. So unfortunately, unlike some of the previous days this week where there was already a stock that had started squeezing in after hours and I was ready to jump right on it, we didn't have something like that for today. So instead, I was sitting here just kind of waiting for something to hit the scanners, and then boom, VMAR hits the scans, as you can see right here. So when VMAR first hit the scanner, right back here, it popped up, and I'll just do auto here. So it popped up first from about 3 up to a high of 360. It dropped down, then it curled back up to 4 right here. Then it pulls back a little bit more, and all of a sudden it pushes higher up to 450 to 5. And so I took my first trade on that pullback right there. I knew it was a little bit risky. We had this kind of double tweezer top right here up around 5, those 2 topping tail candles. So it popped up, pulled back, and then we got the break here. It dipped down, and it pushed a little higher up to 550. But in total, I was only able to make $3,700 on it. And I thought, well, all right, I've broken the ice. I'm green on the day, but not easy, And so this ended up pulling back a lot more than I would typically expect. It did not find support at the VWAP, which is this orange line. The MACD went negative. And even though the volume profile showed more volume on the buying candles, this sold off hard and it didn't recover. So VMAR, short-lived, and then all of a sudden you've got the announcement of a secondary offering here at 920 going into the opening bell. So that's a real shame. So VMAR, got a couple trades on it, didn't end up holding up. Then PGEN hits the scanner, and in spite of the higher float, this thing went from $2 to $4. I jumped in on this one, and this was a little aggressive. I jumped in right down here for the breakthrough 4, and I ended up losing $228. But I'm okay with that. Look, it is what it is. I took the trade. It was moving quickly. I thought it was worth a stab. Ended up, that didn't work out. So I took a quick loss on that. And then all of a sudden at 8:30, that was my next trade. So I sat and didn't take any trades from 7:30 until 8:30. So an hour of just sitting and being patient. It's kind of like going fishing. You spend a lot more time sitting casting the line than you actually spend reeling in a fish, typically. So that was the case here today. I spent a lot of time sitting and kind of waiting, watching the scanners, and then finally something starts moving and boom, I jump on it. So TIVC popped up on the scanners right here in this candle as it started to squeeze up. And I got in my first starter at $3.95. I saw that we had breaking news on it, and I was like, okay, I like that. I'm going to try to ride this momentum. So I get in just for the break of 4 here. It ends up going all the way up to 5. I take some profit. It dips down. It pops back up. And then it breaks down a little bit more. So on that first trade, I made just a couple $1,000s. Got myself up 7,500 on the day. It dips down. It comes back up. Breaks VWAP right here. And rallies back up to 5. Got another trade here. And got myself up 10,000 on the day. Then it pulls back, buying that dip for the curl back up. And next thing you know, I'm up 20,000 on the day. So this is pretty much where I peaked. It pulled back here. It tried to come up. I did get back in it here, and I gave back 1,000 off the top, peaking at 25,000 on the day and sitting at $24,118.84 right now. So overall, I did the best I could on it. I was wondering if this would give us more opportunity at the open. It didn't. It ended up pulling back. But interestingly, at the open, BSLK from the other day has started to pop up. From 750 all the way up to 11. But there's no, real catalyst on it. It's sort of lighter volume, comparatively, and it doesn't, to me, look that attractive. In fact, I'd be worried that you might have some bag holders of people that bought too high in the previous move who are going to be selling into this squeeze. So for me, maybe I'm leaving some money on the table, but I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to be grateful for what I've got today. And, that's kind of my motto, live to trade another day. So at the end of last week, I shared with you an episode, and I went into more detail about it, I guess on Tuesday when I talked about risk management. And that during this period of drawdown for me, I knew the ticket to success for a good recovery, the ticket to a successful recovery. And I knew that it would be, number 1, reducing my share size, and number 2, increasing my quality standard so I don't trade low quality stuff. And so the result this week has been fewer trades in total with smaller size, and naturally I've made less money than on other weeks. But I had to avoid continuing to trade with big size and the risk of incurring more big losses and extending the drawdown. So this is what I would call, a pretty smooth recovery. The account is now back at all-time highs. I've recovered all of the loss from those 2 red days, one at the end of July and then the one at the first day of August. That was the worst week of the entire year for me at this point. If I show this to you, you'll see. So finished that last week of July down, well, actually the last week of July, I was down $5,000 on the week, not including the $44,000 here, which is part of August 1st. So in total, I was down $50,000 on that week, the -5 plus the -44. So 49,000. We'll round up to 50. It's fine. So finished down $50,000, which made it my first red week of the entire year. And right now on the year, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days. I would say that's pretty good. That's better than other years. I'll certainly say that. But obviously in this last month or so, I've had 4 red days. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not ideal. I'd prefer not to be that I kind of got clustered together there. but things cooled off a little bit. I got a little aggressive, and so anyways, there's nothing wrong with having red days, but when you have a drawdown, then you've got to be thinking about how can I recover this, carefully. And so, my recovery here, I think, has been pretty well calculated. It's been slow and steady. So, recovered all of that loss within a week, basically. This week has just been adding profit, but I felt like I was a little behind the ball on the month of August. So just had to kind of keep moving in the right direction. And so now we're halfway done with the month. And yeah, I'm only at, about 70,000 on the month, which was 7% of my goal. So we've got the next 2 weeks to try to, have a really strong finish. I suppose the best thing is that what we can have hope in is that we did have good momentum this week on BSLK. That was a fantastic 500% move. And we had a 400% move on ATNF as well. So we had a couple big moves this week. They were at different times of the day than what we're typically accustomed to, but nonetheless, that was good to see. So I can be hopeful that we'll get some more action like that, next week. Well, whether or not we get more of it today, I'm not sure, because yesterday was slower and now we're at the end of the week. So I think people are kind of taking their foot off the gas going into the weekend here. But, I'll be back at it bright and early Monday morning, streaming at 7 a.m. Eastern. So for those of you guys that haven't already done the 2-week trial, make sure you check it out. You could study up over the weekend some of those classes to help you make the best of the 2 weeks. And I look forward to seeing you bright and early on Monday morning. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. If you enjoy these episodes, I hope you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I'll put the link to that episode on risk management right here and to another episode that you guys might enjoy. So check those out, and I'll see you back here on Monday.